certainly pertains to the emergency water situation that is just we've gone through over the last approximately 2 weeks. It certainly gripped our community, and just like to touch on a couple things. I'm quite pleased to advise that a debriefing of the Emergency Control Group will be taking place next week, and that'll be being held with Emergency Management Ontario officer. A full report will be coming forward to a future Protection to Persons and Property committee meeting by our Fire Chief, Rob Collins. He will handle details on both the emergency and the debriefing. The report will look at things that worked as well as identify weaknesses in the way things have been handled. And they'll be all part of Chief Collins' full report. I'd like to go a little further and certainly like to acknowledge the dedicated efforts of the municipal staff over the last couple of weeks. They put in many hours during the crisis. They certainly were on call, and just a few examples of being on call 24 hours a day. There was 24-hour coverage at the EOC for the first number of days, almost the first week. Our staff at the water treatment facility, both in installing and pulling out pumps, were working well into the night and into the early hours of the morning and right through the night in more than one occasion. So they deserve a true thank you from everyone on their extra efforts. The staff also, the phone lines were managed for extended periods of time through the day and into the 9 and 10 o'clock hours. And of course, up at the water distribution depot, the weather wasn't very warm for much of the 2 weeks. It was a very cold time for everybody volunteering up there. So we certainly thank everybody. Those are just a very few examples of what went on during that time. And I'd also like to certainly recognize the staff that may not have been directly involved, but they were keeping the corporation of the Municipality of Port Hope going at the same time. They were working, doing their daily jobs in order to keep things moving and to make the municipality certainly business as usual. So everybody was certainly involved, and the staff of the municipality deserve a great deal of credit. But most importantly, I'd like to acknowledge and thank our businesses and our residents of the municipality for their assistance and cooperation during the crisis. We certainly acknowledge that it was a hardship, particularly on our businesses, but everybody pitched in, and it's certainly a hardship that our residents helped endure as well. This was a very unique circumstance, but the only way that we got through it with as little problem as we did is because of the cooperation that we received from the residents of Port Hope and the residents and the businesses of Port Hope. So I would personally like to just say thanks to everyone, municipal employees and all of our residents and businesses for the cooperation during the water crisis that we've just endured. Carl, would you like to add anything to that?
If I could, Mr. Deputy Mayor, I'd also like to recognize the contribution the Mayor and yourself made. And you were at the emergency management control meetings on a regular basis and assisted us through those capacities. And we did obviously hear a number of times a want to investigate some of the root cause elements of the event. We are looking at that at this time and beginning to lay out initial steps. We're at an early stage. We'll come back to council with some sense of a program as it moves forward.
And I'm not sucking up at this point in time, but I think we'd be remiss if we didn't thank the media for the tremendous cooperation that you folks gave us during this period of time as well. It's really important that we have our phone lines in that, but also the fact that you folks were tremendously helpful in getting the message out to the community. Much appreciation.